Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Human Touch Method, the podcast about B2B sales in tech and how founders can get from zero to their first customers. I'm Elena and I'm your host. Today we have a guest, Yana Basaranovich. She's a brand strategist and a mentor for startups. She's a founder of PR agency YB Consult, and Yana helps early stage teams turn stories into real traction and PR into the real revenue. Hey Yana.
Yeah. Hi
Hi.
everyone. Thank you for invitation. This is one of the kind of very special moments for me because of you, first of all, Elena, and
Thank you.
because yeah, I'm here stepping out in a newer employer for me because I'm only shifting myself from just being a founder and entrepreneur myself, but coming in a new role as a mentor and as a actually advisor. I'm also acting as an investor, as an angel investor in my first time, and yeah, so I'm very happy.
Such exciting time for you, Yana.
Yeah.
I would say that
Oh,
you are the
absolutely.
founder and you are mentor and you are investor.
Yeah.
So I guess that conversation would be so thoughtful and insightful
Thank you.
for all of us
Yeah.
and for our audience as well. So thank you for coming. That's such a pleasure to have you here. And I would love to start with the topic which is really hot actually. And let's talk about PR and sales and
Yeah. My
how.
favorite.
Yeah. So we are talking a lot about the early age startup, right? How is the PR different from sales? What do you think?
Well, first of all, obviously they are different because there's like a performance that is startuppers and basically the investor, the founders, they all interested in the performance sale, yeah. So, and here is a brand formance, which is what we do. We as a brand strategies, as a PR people, that's what we do. But the thing is that a decision making is rarely made or done alone because buyers or your end user, they still people and they still need the proof and reassurance. And that's exactly where brand formance really helps performance. Because you know that the sales is a very straightforward, is a very direct, because you have a specific deal, you have a calls, you have a letters, you have like customers that you need to reach, and a quick result and the money. But in the early stage startups, the results and the sales is a lot of lays in the manual mode when you need to go somewhere, you need to show your product, and you need to gain the first customers. But we are, as a communication, as a PR people, our work is actually the groundwork that initially and eventually scales up the sales without the without the other efforts because all the founders or the investors, they look on the CPC. But the usual, when you're just starting the project and you're going to the cold sales, your CPC will be much higher when there's a cold sale. But with the help of the communication, with the help of brand formance, your CPC will be way lower because people will actually heard about you somewhere. I don't know, get the references from somewhere about your product, or someone they tried it or they read about you in the social media in some expert column or somewhere. And this is like a foundation of trust because we are creating the like a background that makes it easier for customer to actually make a decision to purchase this product, to actually close the deal and they agree to the deal. We're really communicating the USPs of the product because when you're just coming out of nowhere to the field, which is really high competitive, and there's a other project going on, the other brands, other startups, you just need to stand out. And that's what really, well, PR really helping you to stand out. And the sales are transactional and PR is reputational. Sales provide like an oxygen, but PR provide the trust and makes the sales easier.
Oh my
And
God,
yeah,
I love
like,
it. I love it about
yeah,
oxygen.
it's like,
That's a good,
yeah,
really
it's
good
like,
point.
like obviously sales is like closing the door at one time, and PR is like opening many doors.
Yana, I'm just
Yeah.
wondering, how do I know as a founder of the startup, of the tech startup, is it the right time? And there is that point where I should
Mm-hmm.
put my first money into PR, maybe
Mm-hmm.
putting into everything, into sales, into marketing, and maybe together. There is exactly that point.
Well, I think the main signal that you kind of ready is that your product is ready. This
But
is every time. Yeah, I mean,
it's
yeah,
impossible. Product
yeah.
is never ready in the tech
No,
startup.
but I mean, for example, every time when I'm doing the checkup, because usually I'm building up with my clients or like my mentorees, we check the hygiene of the brand, of your product, or like of your project. A few things that we need to check prior even started to pitching up outside. So we're checking whether your product is not full of bugs. Yeah. So you're say whatever you do, your leads are coming to the right place, or your website is working properly. So like if the things, then the business, you have something to talk about. So it's not the MVP whatsoever. I mean, you have something like visible, or something is really like you understand what is your product is about and how you stand out. Yeah, like
So
you.
let's say from the sales side, you built something, some like MVP, and
Yeah.
you did some cost devs, and you have some feedback from the market. Is there that point where should I put my money?
Who is your target audience? How do you sell it to this target audience? How do you present yourself to the target audience? And if this thing, you know it, and you definitely have the story, you have the product to talk about, because the major mistake is when you're investing into the thin air, when there's nothing to package. So when, for example, because usually we go to the journalist or outside or social media, whatever, depending on where our target audience is, we need to say like, hey, I'm here, this is what I'm selling, try. When you're ready to not just generate the leads in order to show the investors, yeah, the product is working, but you also need like to attract more investment, to attract more partners on board, to attract employees. That's definitely when there's a time when you're really, so you have your, say, PR pack ready, you have the product ready, you have your, say, speaker who's ready to, present your product. And yeah, well, then you're ready.
So you're talking that okay, good. So you're talking about a lot of things like step by on every step of the startup. That means startup at early stage, they always trying to figure out where we should put the money, and they're always like some kind of opinion that PR is the thing just nice to have, and maybe we can put it somewhere further.
I know. This is exactly like the main major pain. And as I started, remember like where to put the eggs on, to the performance or brand performance. Like, and sometimes, yeah, PR considered to be something nice to have, but honestly, this is like a major like a mistake for the founders. This is what they need to understand, that without the solid communication strategy, without the solid like understanding how they gonna communicate. And remember, in the first place, as said, when you just go into the cold sales, well, it's really difficult. And when you go into the audience that don't know what you are about, they never heard about you, they never heard about the founder, they never heard about the industry or something like that, it's going to be extremely expensive. The performance will be just breaking your business unit, because the general the strategy, because it's going to be very expensive. The lead will be very expensive, like the I said, cost per client will be very expensive. And when you're making it like in a say synergy, when you know that you have the sale team fixed, you have the product fixed, and you're building everything in a synergy, like when it, because we are, as a communicator, we're building up like a trust cushion. Yeah, when the customer has already read about you somewhere, or they seen a mention about you, the negotiation starts not who are you, but the negotiation for the like salespeople starts like, oh, I heard about you. Yeah, I've seen you.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is
Exactly. Agree.
completely different.
Agree.
Yeah, this is completely different like perspective
Yeah.
for the salesperson. Or like, and the PR really shortens the deal cycle because you don't need to explain like why would you need to trust us. Or like, honestly, in my experience, when you're building up like a proper communication strategy together with the sales strategy, together with the marketing strategy, because I'm not just saying that the PR like, oh, you need to only do PR. Of course not. No, this is
Yeah,
not what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
I'm saying it should be a very much a strategic, like a combination of a solid brand a marketing strategy that combines a sales strategy, that combines a communicational strategy, and that each of these bits are really complementing each other. So, in just like an example, I can't build up the communication strategy without having a marketing strategy. And the marketing strategy cannot be built without a sales strategy and vice versa, right? So this should be like it's not working one without the other. It should be all together. And a startupper should really keep that in mind that it's not just a batch that, oh my God, I have a TechCrunch publication. No, it's not about that.
The sales side, that's such a pleasure to have some leads who are coming for demos, and they ask him where you come from. They said, we just read about you, for example, the tech article
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
TechCrunch,
yeah.
and I'm, oh my God, such a pleasure that you know
You
something
see,
about
you
us.
understand how it works. I don't know, the blog or Medium, or you have your own social media that you constantly talking about yourself, or like just explaining why, what is it, your product. So on the later stages, for example, you're going to the pitch deck, to the investor pitch deck, and they gonna ask you like, where can we read about you? And if you're gonna come and you're gonna already like mention here, been there, like spoken on that conference, or like we're invited to this podcast. This is like building up your
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, and let's talk more about some PR tools, which really helps us as a sales teams
yeah,
to sell actually in the
yeah,
B2B sales. How PR can warm up
yeah.
B2B leads.
What we usually do together with the sales teams, how we're going to help each other. As I mentioned, it's not the Forbes article on the cover that actually going to help you. No, it's not. So usually these are like an expert articles in and columns in a very specific media. So when we're building up a proper communication plan as the strategy together with the marketing plan, together with the sales plan, we usually thinking like where our customers or like potential partners or like and investors, where do they live? How do they live? What do they read? Like, where do they get the information from? And most of the time, these are specific industry oriented media channels. Some, I don't know, like in our cases, a lot of a Telegram channel, or like say in Medium blogs or LinkedIn channels, or like other places, or specific B2B media channels, like, depending on your industry. So we recommend, in our most of the time in our strategies, we recommend to start from this articles in expert articles in a very specific industry media, because exactly from there they can be very small, they can be without the hundreds of reach, they won't be very on top of the mind of every customer, but they will be very specific where exactly your target audience exist. Yeah, live like and just
Yeah,
spend their
and what
time.
about some, I don't know, maybe some industry associations and
Yeah, well,
conferences?
I'm coming to it.
Okay,
So I
okay.
said expert articles in this and expert columns, because sales can attach exactly these articles to their pitches, to their letters, to their emails, to their public presentations to the customer, to the clients. So basically they can really, in a direct marketing, it really can help, because for example, you're attaching this, like recently we've been mentioned in this article, and this also generate the trust. Then also it works the case studies and the customer successful stories. So it also works as a social proof, but it works as the really proof that your product works. Then definitely speeches at the conferences and the podcasts. It will lead to the sale. It will lead to the closing a deal. And we were discussing that this is a sort of a brand new a tool on our market, but it's fantastic tool because you're inviting the person over for, say, on your podcast, and eventually you can really not just talk about the trends and situation on the market, or how to work on this project or how to work on that project, but eventually you can even close the deal with each other, which is like really crazy thing that's going on. And that's why attending as many professionals podcasts or as many pro conferences, because expertise is actually equal legitimacy. Yeah. So when a lead sees a company speaker on a relevant event or like on a podcast that, for example, this person tend to listen quite often, then this really trust the grow. Yeah. And then I would say the professional community. We need to understand that right now is a really high these professional communities, they are on a high demand. So if you're participating in a special, again, special to your product, to your target audience community, really, because you're becoming their guy, you know what I mean? Like their people. And that also generate the sales. And again, warming up your product, not just you're not again somebody from the street, you're somebody from this community that know this community, and this leads to referral thing, and the referral thing together again with the salespeople, this how this is the major bonus of communication, the referral, because as you know 20 like 80% of your revenue comes from the 20 of your loyal people, and the loyalty comes from the the trust.
We need to surround our client, our future customer, potential leads with all this expertise around them, right?
I would definitely.
But what are the must-have PR tools for the early age startup in B2B?
Well, yeah, well, definitely, as I mentioned to you, like the you have to have a certain package that is being prepared prior, like the information about your company, the bio of the founder. You need to have like a credential of the founder, like the studies or maybe the articles or participation in the conferences or like a podcast or something, because it's the credibility that builds the trust. So I usually make up the package for the founders with the several documents, so to say, that we are preparing prior even going out. Yeah. So this is like a PR pack that you definitely need to have like as a starter tool. And definitely you need to have like a case study. You need to prepare a special, like a certain, participate in certain experts columns and like case studies. And definitely working the founder, you need to work on his personal brand for sure. This is like, you just cannot do whatever without your personal brand. So this is especially in the B2B, because it's important who I trust, not just what kind of product it is. Yeah, because you working from people to people, and the founder often appears in the expert, the company that it founded, it perceived more seriously. And for startups, this is the fastest way to gain legitimacy. So I said, a few articles in the media, a few comments here, participate in the conference there, a podcast here, as personal branding in the social media or whatever like you are. And so I said the first thing is the case studies, the second the founder personal brand, then the media is like an amplifier. So because the case study is convinced, the founder build the trust, and the publication provide the context and the scale. Like very straightforward.
Very straightforward. Yeah, you need to invest a lot of money in PR, I guess.
No, that's absolutely not true.
Every day, like every month, you
No,
need to be
it's
everywhere.
No, but it's not a matter of money. It's a matter of time, of course. And as said on the first place, it's a matter of the strategy. Because without the strategy, like it's just wasting time and wasting everything. Because a PR doesn't cost a lot. Direct advertising that costs a lot. Direct sales and cold leads cost a lot. And PR compared to all this, well, it doesn't.
Do you have any examples of what mistake do founders make most often in PR? Maybe they can trying to be everywhere at once. They do some press releases without
Yeah,
news or
yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah. That's my favorite part.
What are the real mistakes? Because I've heard that, for example, traditional press doesn't work at all for the tech startups. And my second question would be about the difference between how to build the PR strategy if you compare the big brands, because you worked a lot with big brands before, and I know, and with these small babies like tech startups. What is the difference actually? What are the mistakes from the early stage?
Well, there's not so much in the differences, I would say. So we need to think of the what your brand is all about. What are the values? What are the missions? What are the vision of the founder here? And that leads to the communication strategy. And obviously, communication strategy also comes out from the business strategy, like in general, from the sales and marketing, and what are the goals the brand like a business goal that we need to achieve, where are we heading to, who is our target audience, where is it B2C, is it end users, is it B2B, is it partners, are we planning to get the investment, are we planning to go to the fund, or what are the plans, right? And from this points, it doesn't really matter whether your brand is big or your brand is small, because this is like a common sense and a common business logic that you need to understand where you are, who you are, and where you're standing up, and what's your business goal eventually. Are you planning to exit the startup at the very end? Are you planning to grow your startup? Are you planning to increase your product, or like build up like a unicorn? It all depending on your general business goals.
Everybody.
Well, so in terms of the mistakes, I said, so to summarize, it doesn't really matter like the size of your company. The strategy should be from the point A, like where like the business strategy, and then we are just properly building up the communication mode depending on the goals in general. And but there are a lot of mistakes when I'm working with founders. They're just coming to me and asking like, I want to be in the TechCrunch, and or I want to be on the Forbes cover, like a TechCrunch dream. Yeah, like chase the vanity PR. In sake of PR, what I called. And this is like the general mistake, to do PR just in sake of doing it. This is a completely faulty approach, and that doesn't work in general,
So
and
I think that
it's not a good thing.
to have an article on TechCrunch, it's not the goal, right?
No,
That's
no,
what you're
no.
saying.
It's if you're having an article because you understand why you have the article in there, how you pitch the journalist, you're explaining your story behind it, you're telling the very expert opinion about it, you understand what you're gonna get out of this article, then this is the right way. But just having an article inside of the article, this is completely a faulty road, and it's not gonna bring you anything, it's not gonna value or anything, because you have to have a right vertical where buyer or your end users or your partners can actually read about you and can validate your expertise and can really feel the credibility and that you actually gain the value out of it. You have to be consistent in everything you do, not just one publication in the sake of publication. And also sometimes founders confusing PR with advertising, because after having the sale set say having the expert column, they expecting like a huge sales, Well, it's not gonna leave you a huge sales in a very second because it's a mix of everything that's going on in the moment. So you have like your proper marketing campaign, you have a proper sales build up, like sales technique build up. You're working on the different channels. You understand which channel is bringing up, and the PR is helping you with that in general. When you're speaking to the performance marketer, he gonna tell you, okay, I have the CPR like this, I have a CPV like this, I have a conversion rate up to this, I have these numbers. When PR, we're measured by reach, we're measuring by the reputation value, we're measuring ourselves by the like the eventual outcome and the vision and the mission and like the atmosphere around the brand. That's how we measuring ourselves. We're telling the stories that will potentially gonna help your brand salespeople to sell your brand better, to sell your product better, because as said, the it's going to be a warm contact, not the cold contact. So it's not about the hype, it's about the value. So also the clients regularly asking me like, okay, how many articles will you provide? I'm asking them, are you for quantity or are you for quality? That is also a bit different things, because quantity sometimes is not equal quality. So I'd rather work on one quality piece, but this is gonna be a very good one rather than hundreds.
How can I measure the quality in PR?
Well,
Is there some metrics of the quality in this sense
they
we are talking
are, of
about? Yeah.
course, like for instance, this journalist or this media outlet is writing precisely about your industry, and that exactly that your target audience is valued this media place, media outlet, more than say just a TikToker. And then obviously we value ourselves by the reach, we value ourselves by the quality reach. So exactly that these people are reading these articles because and this is the target place for them. They are like affinity index of the readers are higher than in any other places. Then we also measuring ourselves like in terms of the positive, negative, or like a neutral. This is how positive this article was about your company. And that all this together creates the value of the outreach. But obviously we cannot fully measure ourselves by the metrics that in classical marketing.
Yeah, but I think that in long term collaboration with the sales teams, you can measure it actually, because the funnel is going like from the from the first PR tools you published somewhere. You can measure this quality with some leads are coming from
Yeah,
this.
well, like we also working in the pyramid. So brand knowledge, brand salience, brand understanding, then brand usage, and then loyalty. And this is how we together with the sales building up this LTV. So yeah, so we are working in a synergy together. The cost for the customer acquisition is lower, and we keeping up like the proper level of the retention rate here.
Yeah, actually,
So
that
yeah,
how trust works in sales. Yeah, you're
absolutely.
absolutely right. Yeah,
Absolutely. I'm not just a said saying that PR is a magic or we are a magician or we have some magic pills. No, it's a synergy work based on the general strategy of the brand and then the business. And we are just complementing each other and helping each other and really, creating the really good platform for the development.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Look, that's a very, very thoughtful and very insightful
Yeah.
conversation. But I really love what you are talking about, that you need to have an approach for PR as you are the small startup,
Mm.
just a small startup in early stage, or you are the big brand. But now I see that all the tech startups, they are trying to get into the global sales directly. So that's what I see, that what's
Mhm.
happening here in Europe and in the US as well. They want to expand very fast, you know.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about the PR tools which are helping us to expand new markets, so what is the difference, and what is the difference in your PR approach if you're, for example, do business in France versus the
Yeah.
US, and you are going
Mm-hmm.
globally?
Yeah, so this is a very, I love this bit because, first of all, I used to work with one market, and that market was very straightforward. We understood, like, we were understanding, like, what we're doing and how we're doing. All the tools are very, familiar, and so on and so forth. And now, when I'm working with the European startups, because before I also worked mostly with the German accelerators, with the German startups, and with the company Rocket Internet. And Rocket Internet is very famous for its strategy. And what they were doing, they were usually, when they were coming to the other market, they were doing the standardization mode. So basically, we take in one vision and we're applying this vision to all the markets. And what happened that this approach actually failed because each market needs the adaptation. So yeah, it's good to have very standard things that you know how to do, you're familiar with, you have these tools, but yeah, you have to adapt these tools based on market per market. Why? Because we're talking about very cultural things, language things, background things, and so on and so forth. So when you're planning to go up, and it's very understandable that you're planning to go globally, because one market can be not enough, or you cannot really scale up on this market. So you definitely need to keep the more broader vision for your product in general, because obviously, talking about the Europe itself is quite small in terms of like the size of the market, and very diversified based on the culture, traditions, like history, and the languages. When in the US, it's very straightforward because everybody speaks English, so you're building up the English, English language product, and you're okay. Yeah. When because now I'm based in Slovenia, and when I'm working with the Slovenian product, they usually saying, well, we are not interested in our market because our market is so small. Like, how can we scale up? No, we cannot. Therefore, English is very helpful. So, my recommendation for the startups when they build it up, and they're planning to have their product scalable, to start it from the English language resources will really help you. The case studies that when, and global media obviously love the human stories of founders, not just the technical releases. They're not really interested in like
So true. So true.
another product, another tech product. They really, when the startup goes global, PR is no longer just a background noise. It is like your business card of the trust for investors, for international customers, and for the future employees. And obviously, you need to adapt a set your story to the different markets. So, for example, when you're pitching the MENA market, you need to prepare your pitch deck accordingly to have the very local numbers. Same actually for UK market. UK market is very specific market. So they really want to hear the numbers only about their market. They're not going to be interested in the numbers from US sales or from other markets, from France. Yeah. They would be very much interested in their numbers, the research of their market, like the situation, the trends in their market, and the tools that are working on their market. Same in France and Germany, for
Same in
example.
France, absolutely.
Yeah. In France, for example, or in Germany, they value local contacts. So they value quality, they value stability, they value partnership, they value people who you know, of the people that you know, and so on and so forth. So
Yes.
for sales perspective, it's better to mention some person from your industry that you know each other. That also your value will really rise. For you,
That's so
there this market they loves the stories about disruption, scale, ambition. Like, you have to show that your project is scalable. You have to show that you're gonna achieve this much sales within this short period, and then return on investment will be like this. For example, in Asia, they need to have a social significance and a cultural adaptation. You definitely, I mean, you work globally, you say you have an English, say, speaking product, like speaking audience, but you definitely need to adapt. Context, say in France, for example, for, that so many things that are happening in terms of the negotiation project processes, there is so much different from the US processes. I say in US it's very straightforward. You have the meeting, you make the deal,
Yeah,
seal the deal,
yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah.
you're working. When in France,
Absolutely.
you need to have a play around. You need to have one meeting, another meeting, maybe offline meeting, and so on and so forth. And
You need
you're
to be
like
introduced by
having,
someone, of course,
yes, you
because
need to be
the cold outreach
introduced.
doesn't
Yeah.
work here very well. It very well works in the US, in some different countries, but here in France, you need to be introduced every time like
Yeah.
this, you know?
Like say, like, yeah, like like in different cultures, you need to understand the context. Well, obviously PR is not a Google Translate,
Yeah.
and there should be well, there should be one story, but you need to tell the story from the difficult angles, from the difficult perspective, and from something that is more valuable for this market. Yeah, so with the global media industry media, like as I mentioned, TechCrunch and VentureBeat, um, they are very much valued by all the markets. But yet again, I think you need to highlight your origin. You need to tell something very specific, and also you need to tell the market how you precisely gonna solve the problem of this precisely market. One lady, I spoke with one lady, and she told me, like, I was working in a field in the corporate area for like in a corporation for like many years, for like 15 years, and I'm very much proficient in how the corporate sales and commercial departments are made. Now I want to mentor startups about this, and I keep asking her, but have you ever, experienced working for with the startups? And she said, no, but I worked for corporation for a long time, so I know how. Okay, no, but you need to understand the
Yes, it's so
context.
different.
This is
Yes.
so different. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
just
you
yesterday I
definitely
had
need
a
to.
conversation with a French founder of fashion startup, and we talked about it that's that's possible to hire someone from the corporate in your startup, but you will make the issues for all the team and for yourself by doing this, because yeah,
Yeah,
you need to understand the temp, the rhythm of the startup. You need to be super flexible, and sometimes when
yeah.
you work a lot of, I don't know, many years in the corporate, you are losing this flexibility sometimes. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm not talking about everyone, but still this is the different approach also.
Yeah, but for international media, they are very much open to any project from any countries. It depends how you pitch them,
Yep.
because now we're not sending the press releases anymore. We pitch in the media, and we're finding the right channel for your voice, and that's the main kind of value of a PR, because we're very our work is very customized. It's very specific, product per product, and project per project. We customizing the approach, because depending on the language, the market, the positioning, the goals, the founder, we are very much building up the general trust and the specific things, and we're pitching the journalist accordingly. Yeah, because
Yeah,
only by that you're gonna really get the quality
which are
things, and that
convertible to the sales. Yes,
absolutely,
right,
that which
absolutely.
definitely convert. Yeah,
Right.
but definitely, as I said, it should be a synergy. It should be altogether done within the global strategy, and it should be evaluated accordingly by the founders. That's for sure.
That's so true. That's so true. Well, I think we covered so many things in the last hour, and we discussed about PR and sales and this synergy and the trust. What is the really main thing here? Before we wrap up, just a quick question. Give us one piece of advice for a founder before their first PR experience.
And I think the honesty and trust in yourself is a massive thing. And don't be afraid to go there, to go out there and to speak about your product. And it's strategy and understanding your goals.
So, Yana, thank you so much, and thank you
Yeah.
for joining us.
Thank you so much. It was a great experience for me. Thank you.